So it's time for another episode of 2 Minute Tuesday, and this week we're going to be taking a look at the real costs of selling your property here in Spain. Obviously, there's more to consider than just the asking price or the selling price of your property. There are certain costs that are also to be associated with selling. So welcome to episode 192 of 2 Minute Tuesday, where we talk everything about the extra costs associated with selling your property here in Spain. Okay, so the first one we've got is capital gains tax. Now, capital gains tax is the tax that is charged on the profit that you make on the sale of your property. Now, there are certain exemptions to not paying capital gains tax, and we have lots of videos and things like that in our database of videos and also our articles. So search those out on our website. But if you have made a profit on your property and you're not exempt from paying capital gains tax, this is a tax that is going to be levied on the profit. So the difference between the price that was declared on your escritura, on your deeds when you purchased the property, and the price that you are declaring for the sale of the house now, and then you'll be taxed on this. Now, if you are a resident, if you are retired, it's your main home, you're a pensioner, then you can be exempt from this. As a non-resident, you'll pay a flat rate of 19%, and as a resident, there are graduated payment depending on how much profit you've actually made. And the tax is based, as I said, on the difference between the purchase price and the sale price. You can mitigate this tax by taking into account, let's say you've built a swimming pool and you've built a garage, then you can use the tax receipts from the constructor of the garage and swimming pool, and you can use those to offset against the tax because they are allowable expenses. However, if you paid a mate down the road to do it for you and they didn't issue you with a VAT receipt, then you can't do it because you've probably paid them cash, and obviously the taxman won't be very happy about that. The next tax that we've got is a municipal tax, and it's called plusvalia, and this is a land tax. Now, this is quite contentious. So this is basically a tax stating that on the day that you purchased your property, the value per square metre of land was X. And today, when you are selling your property, the value of a square metre of land is Y. And invariably, the value of land goes up, regardless of whether your property price has gone up or down. So anything that you receive a perceived benefit on, whether that is mainly financially, is taxable, and so it's something that you're going to be taxed on. This is a tax that is calculated and levied by the local town hall, and it's paid by the seller as part of the sales process. And it's sort of calculated depending on how much land you own, what kind of land, whether it's urban, rustic, and all the bits and bobs, and obviously the length of time that you've owned it determines whether the price has gone up or down. Next one is estate agent fees. Now, estate agent fees vary wildly in Spain, from 2.5% up to sort of 7%. Please don't be paying anywhere near the higher amounts. The real estate agent will then handle the marketing of the property. They'll help you get all your paperwork in order, point you in the right direction for lawyers, architects, all the bits and bobs. And then they will also, obviously, as part of the marketing and advertising of the property, conduct viewings, do negotiations regarding the price. There should really be no advance charges from your real estate agent. It should be no sale, no fee, no advanced payments. They should market your property. And my advice is don't sign up to an agent that asks for exclusivity. Go for an agent that is happy to have competition, because generally they will work harder for you. Next up, we've got the legal and administration fees, and these are generally your lawyer, or if you're not using a lawyer, your HESTOR, and this will be for the writing of contracts, checking documentation, and ensuring you get paid. The lawyer fee really is like an insurance policy, and it also protects you against the buyer's lawyer. And so your lawyer fees are obviously something that you need to add in there. All lawyer fees vary greatly, but expect to pay between €1,000 and €2,000 on an average villa, slightly more for a bigger villa. And also, if there is a lot of paperwork to be done to bring your property documentation in order so that the property can be sold without issue or infraction, then obviously you've got the costs associated with that. So if you need specific documentation in order to get the property sold that it's either expired or you need a new document, then you also need to pay for that. One of the documents is something called an energy certificate, which you need, an EPC. And this is basically the architect will come around your house, they'll measure the rooms, they'll measure the window sizes, how you heat the house, how you cool the house, what the insulation characteristics are, things like this, how you heat the water, and then it all goes into a computer and you get a grade. Grade A is fantastic, grade G is a wet cardboard box in the middle of the road. So really, it's something people don't look at. It's we have our doors and windows open in February on nice days. So the energy efficiency, although important, isn't maybe as important as it would be in the north of Europe. Number 6, now we've got mortgage cancellation fees. Now, if you've had a mortgage on the property, when you take the mortgage out, you take it out for a term, let's say 25 years. If you pay the mortgage off early, either you've paid it off yourself or you're paying it off because you're selling the property, then there will be a cancellation fee. And this is because the bank are going to lose out on the interest on the sale. So you need to work that into your calculations as to what you're going to get back at the end of it. If you're fortunate enough to have been able to pay off your mortgage during the loan term, then there will also be a mortgage cancellation fee, because although you've paid it off, your mortgage will still be on the escritura, on the house deeds, and we need to take it off. And that means that the bank need to come along to the notary and cancel the mortgage on the land registry. And that obviously comes at a cost, because you've got the bank that needs to come and you've got the notary fees that need to come. Next up, we've got non-resident tax. This is like a never-ending minus off the total price. If there's anything left at the end of it, you'll be lucky. Non-resident tax. So if you're a non-resident, you don't live in Spain, you don't live here for 183 days of the year, then the Spanish government will charge 3% of the sale price of the property. And this is in lieu of any outstanding taxes. So what they're saying, let's say, for example, you're British and you're selling your property and you're going to go back to the United Kingdom. The Spanish government are saying if they find out that you owe money when you've gone, let's say it's capital gains tax or something like this, they have no way of getting hold of this. So they will retain 3% of the sale price of the property, check all of the documentation to make sure that you're up to date with all of your taxes and things like this. And this, if you are, then they will refund the money to you. We used to say to people it takes 6 months to refund it. Then we started saying to them it takes 12 months to refund it, and then 18 months, and it is 18 months, 2 years before you get the money back. So these are the main criteria that you need to consider when you're selling your property. It does seem like a long list of debits from a bank statement, but look at them. Have a word with your agent when you speak with your agent about selling the property. Speak with your lawyer about it, and they will give you all the information that you need, and be able to give you a rough calculation as what it is. But basically, you need to factor these costs in to give you an idea of what you're going to have when you've sold the property. And that's it for this week's episode. So hopefully, it's not the most cheery episode, again, talking about taxes and what it's going to cost you, but it's really, really important to know these sort of things. So that's it for this week's episode. We'll see you for the next one in a couple of weeks. My details should be on the screen at the moment if you've got any questions or queries. But if I don't hear from you, I'll look forward to seeing you for the next episode of 2 Minute Tuesday in a couple of weeks. Until then, adios.